Khan.
This is comfortable.
How are you?
Do you want me to this?
More comfortable than you thought?
Yeah, it didn't look that comfortable.
No, it is. Why do you think you sit away always?
It's really nice.
Yep.
Think I can nap now after my fast.
Don't put them to nap. You can nap. How are you?
Good, very good, very, very good. I actually enjoyed the first 20 minutes.
You did?
I really did. I didn't get a chance to
You're going to start now?
to contribute on that.
Yes, you're gonna start
So
with
we'll start with that. Yeah. So I'm Asad,
Hi, Asad.
and it's actually my birthday in 100 days. And for the last month, we've actually been planning on something. I think my producer will kill me, but I'll still say it, that we're making a.
When you say producer, do you mean your mom?
No.
Okay.
I am not a result of nepotism. Nobody in my family does movies or anything. So I did not inherit
No,
this.
Mom's a producer.
No, I'm just. So, okay. Now I get the joke. Now I do. Blame Ramadan, not me. I'm a little slow. So, we've been trying for a very long time to do stuff here in Dubai, based in Dubai. We wrote some material, then we did a couple of plays, theatrical productions. People do small videos, for 14th, 15th August or for National Day. But there hasn't been proper content like a web series or something which is based on the expat community, based on modern Dubai, based on something which is very real, which touches all of us. So about 2 years ago, December of 2016, we did a theatrical production called How's That? And it was based on the Palm. It was an Indian living next door to a Pakistani. That was when the Pakistan ban and India and Pakistan relationships had gotten really bad, and we just wanted to show that in Dubai, if you're together, you're just together. So the Indian had a Greek wife, the Pakistani had a Pakistani wife, and through them we showed generation clash, culture clash, them fighting about things like what car you drive or what kind of music you listen to. So we try to encapsulate all the differences that we have in Dubai. And we premiered that in December. We reran that. This was December 2016. We reran that in April of 2017. And hopefully by my birthday, end of September, we will release a web series on it.
Nice.
And that would be my celebration of launching that web series
What is it called?
online. How's that?
How's that?
We'll call it the same thing.
How's that? When did you start your journey in acting?
In acting.
So tell us about yourself, background a bit, and what
was
was life and how it took you to where you are here today.
I was born in Dubai. We were in Dubai. So my father was an Indian. My mother was a Pakistani, but then dad converted to the Pakistani passport. So technically, it was a Pakistani family. I was born in Dubai. I was in Dubai till I was 10 years old, and then we moved to Pakistan. I stayed there till I was 24, and then I moved to Switzerland, and then I moved back to Dubai. I will stop talking in years anymore, otherwise you'll know how old I am. But
You know how old you are?
you do?
35.
Well, somewhere around. So that's been my journey. It's been from Dubai to Pakistan to Switzerland.
So what did you do in Switzerland?
In Switzerland, no, I didn't study. I actually worked there, and I also had a Bollywood dance studio, and we performed all over Europe. Because when I got there, I wanted to act, but I only knew English or Urdu and Hindi, and they only spoke French, and I was like, what do I do here? I don't know the language. I don't know. So rather than just putting things on the side and being like, sorry, I lose, I did not accept defeat, and I was like, so
how did you get to Switzerland?
I went there for work. So
Looking for
no, I had my own work which I went for. So I was working for a company at that point in time, for P&G,
Okay.
and they moved me to Switzerland.
Okay.
But obviously the artist in me, it always was there. I had my production house when I went to university as well, when I started my career as well. And over there I was in a spot where I didn't have that artistic outlet. So I was like, what's the one thing that people love over here? Bollywood. They really do. They love Indian music. They love Indian food. There's actually a lake called Yashraj Lake. So that was quite interesting. And I said that the only way that you can get to these people without language is music. So then I started a Bollywood dance studio. We started off with 10.
While you were working?
While I was working. So we started.
Are you still working with them?
Yes, I still am. I still run a company. Yeah, I still run a company.
Work with PNG?
Yeah, I still work with PNG.
Lovely.
It's a
Okay.
Because
Balancing act.
it's a balancing act. Yeah, and both help each other a lot. Like the skills that I get in my professional life help my professional artistic life a lot, and the skills that I get in my professional artistic life.
Oh, so you're like a sane artist.
I'm like, well, that time will tell. Once you get to know me, you'll know. So I did dance over there, and then I moved to Dubai in 2012. And again, I set up my production house. We started doing theater because theater was the only thing that was there. Television was very Arabic content, and your movies were few and far apart. At that point in time, the government had not given so many grants, so many Indian movies were also not coming here, Pakistani movies, foreign movies, because they get a very decent kickback, they now come. But nothing was coming here, so we were like, okay, theatre is a very good medium to get to people. There was Center Point, which was a beautiful theatre. There was Madinat at that time, which was extremely nice. The Sheikh Rashid Auditorium. So we were like, okay, fine, the infrastructure is there. People were not there. So when I started in 2012, apart from a few productions, about 100 people would come and watch a particular play over its course. Whether they were 4 days, 6 days, you'd get about 120 people coming and watching. And over the past...
Was it a good number or a sad number?
It was a sad number. It was 100 people in Dubai, which has, close to 1.8 million population, and 3 million, all right.
Yeah,
so
you're putting things in perspective now for me.
Yeah, no, I'm not. So to get people to come after you've put in so much work, months and months and months of rehearsal and that artistic energy of so many people. So it was a decent number, like people were happy with it. I think that was their biggest problem at that time, that the people who were doing theatre were complacent. They were like, yes, 100 people is good. And then you got a few people who were a little disruptive in their thought. They were like, no, we should at least get to a place where if we do 5 shows, 6 shows over a weekend, it should sell out and people should want it to come back. And that's how the culture, the artistic culture, the soul of the city will also take shape. So it's been 5-6 years since then. And with all modesty at heart, I did Sherlock earlier this year, sold out. We could sell, I think we could have sold at least, we did 4 shows, we could have sold another 4. JLT, you were there, and that sold out. And we're doing it again. So,
Wow.
so we'll.
When is JLT coming again?
A tentative date, don't hold a gun to my head, but it's either going to be November or January. Most probably we're skewing towards doing it early part of November.
Are you going to tweak the script or keep it?
Tweak a little.
Okay.
A little, but
amazing script.
yeah, it generally worked.
Guys, if you haven't seen it, don't miss it. It's amazing.
Nah, that's very kind of you. It was a fun process. So Howzat was about Indians, Pakistanis, Greeks on the palm. We were like, okay, how do we make this broader? So we said that where's a community where there are a lot of people who live together, JLT. The play's name was just like that, JLT. And you have a British married to a Greek. You have a Indian or a Pakistani. You don't know. You'll have to watch the play to see whether he's Indian or Pakistani. Dating a Lebanese. And then you have an Emirati married to a Filipino. And you have a security guard who's South Indian. And there are a few characters that come in and out. But that's the general story. And it's a comedy, so we try to...
Fantastic comedy. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Your journey, you spoke about it from a professional level. From an amateur level, from school days, were you into theatre always?
Yes,
Do you remember the first time you took
Yes,
stage?
I do actually, and we also have a video of that. My father was one of the biggest supporter of the arts, and I was 7 years old, and I remember I was a nerd. Like I loved books. I didn't like sports. I didn't like going out in the sun. I liked staying home, and at that point in time, PlayStation and these things were not that. The phone was not there, which is like a monster right now. And I remember all I used to do at home was either read, or eventually we got an Atari, so we would spend time on that. Yeah, it was simple.
Yeah.
It was really simple.
It's available now.
Now I when I see the joypads of PS4s, I'm like, how many buttons are there? Yeah, it's they announced the vintage collection. Yeah, it's so my father went for a PTA meeting, and the government at that point in time, there were only a few schools. There weren't these many schools. I was in the Dubai Gem, and the government was looking for collaborations between ages to promote the arts. So they were looking at 7 to 10 years, 10 to 14 years, 14 to 18 years, and were funding schools that, do a production. We'll get 4 or 5 more schools to come participate, and you can make. So my father went there for a PTA meeting, and the teacher was like, you know what, we're looking for somebody to play the lead of the play, I'll tell you, and we're in a fix. And my father was like, why? And she's like, because it's 7 to 10, and we need somebody who can memorize all those lines. And my father was like, my son has a lot of time. He's always home reading. Give him the script, he'll memorize it. And I remember that he came to me right before the summer holidays. He hands me the script. He's like, you got the role just because you're good at learning stuff, so learn the lines. I put that script on the side. I slept, ate, enjoyed my vacations, and then I show up, and my teacher pulls me out of the class, takes me to the auditorium. Everybody's sitting there, and she's like, tell us what you learned over the summer holidays. And I'm just standing there blank. And I remember she gave me such hell and high water. But then I was like, okay, fine. Just to prove a point, and because my dad did stick his neck out, I will learn the entire script. So I learned the entire script. They put me on stage. It was Aladdin. And then I started acting, and that was the first time where I got the bug. So on stage, singing and acting, I was like, okay, this is really, really fun. And since then I started. And I never really got professional training till I went back to Pakistan. And when I was finishing high school, I don't know if you guys know Rahat Kazmi or not. He's like, Google him. He's like one of the big Pakistan actors. He's the president of the National Association of Performing Arts in Pakistan as well. He's quote unquote like the Amitabh Bachchan of Pakistan. So he's quite big back home. And he saw me perform once, and he was like, you have a lot of talent but no polish. And he offered, like, he just walked up to me and he offered that, would you like me to teach you? And I was like, He was like, yeah, you're like, I was 17. I was like, maybe. So he's like, why? I was like, I don't know if I have time. He's like, you're in school, you have all the time in the world. It's like, well, then he actually called home, and my mother was a big fan. Like, she was a phenomenal fan of Rahat Kazmi.
Oh, he was like the Amitabh Bachchan, and you were not faced by it. You were not.
So he calls my mother, and he's like, I'd like to meet you and your son. And all this time she doesn't know who he is, but I know. And then we walk, like, he calls us to a school he was running. He still runs it in Pakistan, Lyceum. And I go there, and we walk in, and he's looking at me and he's talking. And my mother, right next to me, is like, and she looks at me and she's like, you will do whatever the gentleman says. And I'm like, I don't have a choice anymore. So then I took workshops with him for about a year. And yeah, then we did a lot of productions together till I moved to Switzerland. And even now we're in touch. But that's how the journey started. It was by chance. I found that I really loved it, and then since then I've been doing it, and I think that the happiness that comes from it is enough motivation for me to keep just going back and back and back. So that's in a nutshell the journey. Somewhere along the line, I got fascinated by the whole process, so I started producing, I started directing, I started writing, and because of the whole Switzerland thing, I started dancing. So then it's just fun. I try to do whatever I feel like and whatever comes to me. Like for the script, it was so when I wrote House At, it was me alone. And then when I wanted to make it broad, I got Manju on board. It's a common friend of ours, and you also know her quite well.
She was here.
Yeah, she was here 3 weeks ago, right?
4 weeks ago.
And yeah, and I think that I think I will continue to write. So if anybody has any interesting ideas or would like to do something, let me know. Because the one thing which I feel is critical in building art and culture over here in Dubai, which is predominantly, yes, there is the Emirati culture, which is the base, which is the fundamental, which is where we live, but there is a very unique expat culture and a very quick expat culture. Like you can see people changing every 3 to 6 years. So it's a very fluid, and it's very unique in the world. It's very unique. So we need to embrace that as well and build that into the arts, into theater, into movies, into stories, because that's what will shape Dubai's soul moving forward. So I'll keep writing, and we'll see how it.
How is the theatre scene over here? Do you visit every production that happens over here?
I try to. I really try to. So I'm a fan of entertainment. Like I will watch the lamest of movies and the most intellectually stimulating movies, and I will go to the opera, and I will go to theatre.
And you go to work as well.
And I do go to work. I don't know who's watching this, so I have to say I still go. So I enjoy it. So I do go out, and sometimes you do get disappointed. Sometimes you get blown away. Sometimes you're like, that was okay. Sometimes you're like, wow, that really was. And I'll be honest with you, and I it could be politically incorrect. 2 years ago, at Daktak, so there are 2 theatres in Daktak. One is the smaller one, which is Kila Chand, which is a 150-seater, and then there is Centre Point, which is about 550-seater. In the 550-seater, the person who claims to be the best actor in India was doing a play with his family. I'm pretty sure you guys know who I'm talking about. With his family. Yeah. So he was doing a play with his family, and it was publicized as, oh my God, like Broadway coming to Dubai. And in the smaller theatre, a group called The Hive, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it or not, they were doing their adaptation of The Miracle Worker. Now, I wanted to watch both. So I was like, okay, I will go and watch the matinee show of Mr. Superstar, and then I will go and see what community theatre is putting up with The Miracle Worker. I went into the big play, and normally I walked out. I did not enjoy it. I felt it was...
Which one?
The big one.
The Superstar.
The Superstar. And I would give it, if I had to give, I would give it a 2 on 10. And I just walked out. I was like, maybe he was trying to promote his family, maybe this was an off show, maybe they were trying to do something different which didn't connect to me. Came out, had a coffee, went and saw Miracle Worker. All Dubai-based actors, nobody was quote-unquote professional. It was easily an 8 on 10.
Oh, wow.
So that made me realize that go and see everything if it interests you. If it doesn't, that's okay. But like every song that comes out, if you love music, you listen to and try to get, you have to go out and watch it. So I do go out and watch it. I've seen really good productions. I've seen really bad ones. I've seen really good ones in local community. I've seen really bad ones in professional. It's a mix and match. I think it, but I do enjoy going out a lot and watching production.
What you shared just now is a very interesting fact, and Uh, there is probably, do you think that when you reach a certain stardom, you reach a certain level of complacency, you start thinking that people will accept whatever I put out there?
Yes and no. I do feel people do get complacent, and it's not just in acting and entertainment.
Yeah.
I feel it's everywhere. I feel even as an employee, if you're working and you're getting appreciated, you know, sometimes you're like, okay, whatever I do will fly, but it doesn't last long. And I feel it's the biggest disrespect that if somebody is putting in their hard-earned money and or time to come and watch you, whether to be entertained, whether to forget about what they've been through, or to just to get a story out of you. If you do not deliver, then you are cheating them. And that, I think, is the biggest fundamental flaw and disrespect that an artist at least could have. And a lot of people do it, but as you can see, when they do, the tides do go against them. They do start falling, no matter who they are. Because at the end, quality and content is what survives.
And with content, when you are a writer, when you are scripting the whole thing, you're so attached to the story, you're so close to it, and you've been through it so many times, several times. How do you keep yourself excited about it, number one? And number two, how do you check yourself whether you're getting complacent or not?
Complacent in that script, or
in your delivery or whatever you're giving, whether are you giving your best? What is your measure? How will you?
So for me, it's always been, as I said, right? It's motivation which comes from within.
Yeah.
It's what people at the end of a production, and that's the biggest indicator.
Yeah, but that comes at the end. So it comes after your delivery.
So you're saying during the process.
During the process, how do you make sure that I'm not accepting this script or this story or this joke easily? How do you ratify and say that yes, this is something good, worthy to be put out?
So I have a few people who help me out in this, in terms of the humor of it, and there are different levels. So for example, if I tell a joke to my mother, she'll laugh at whatever I throw at her. Very simple. Yeah. Then you go to level 2, which is my brother, and he will be a little critical. He'll be like, okay, yes, no, maybe. And then I have a friend of mine who I've known since I was, I think, 16 years old. Super witty. He writes columns, he does shows. He is a pain. Like, he will never be like, this was good. The most he will be like, you don't need to cut this. You know, so he's the last.
Okay.
And then we workshop. So we get a cast and a crew in, and then we start workshopping the script. After we workshop the script, we show it to a couple of people during the workshop that organically, is this something which we are getting, you know, which we feel is funny, or if we feel is okay, or do you feel that it has potential? And then during that workshop, after that workshop, we then put it in front of the audience. So it's a very, very painful process, and I have to give credit where credit is due. The cast that works on a workshop script, they are the most patient, most talented, and most quick on their feet.
Yeah.
And that's how we select them. We can forego a really good actor to get somebody with that, because to workshop an original script and to get it on stage, because a movie is very different. A movie workshop happens with writers, right? You have 30 writers, 20 writers, you workshop it there. But for a theatrical production, you workshop it while you're rehearsing, while it's on stage. And then every ego, super ego, insecurity of that actor comes out. And while that comes out, they need to think that, okay, the end game is to put a good product in front of people, a coherent story, a coherent character.
How do you create a balance? Because you are in the play as well.
The director does.
Yes, you are.
Then the director does.
The director.
No, I wasn't the director of JLT. I was the writer and the actor. And there was this.
You chose not to be the director. You could have been the director.
I chose not to, because that's where the director puts the yardstick in. And there was this wonderful, wonderful girl called Priyanka Jory. She has directed for 5 years now. She's done Mousetrap. She directed House That. She directed JLT. She's lovely. and she was the director, and she would be the final. Okay, this is out. This is in. This is how it's coming together, because she had that vision of the overall project.
So from what you just said, I'm finding the answer of how not to be complacent is to surround yourself with people who don't say yes immediately to things.
Yes, that is definitely one. And people who pull you up. Pull you up in the sense that they inspire you. I read or I heard this somewhere that if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So that is support you, who can inspire you, and who share your common vision, who work towards the same goal, and then the rest is just.
Kazmi, you said, right?
Yes.
Has he seen any of your work?
Yes and no.
Theater?
He has not seen anything I've done in Dubai, which is really, really sad, because whenever he visits,
So you can plan for the 100 days, what you just said.
The web series he's going to see. Yeah, the web series he will.
Okay.
What was really sad was that we wanted to take Hawzat to Pakistan, and that was exactly the time where the fight happened. And because of that, the visas for our Indian friends were not issued because of security. What's sadder is that I was doing a Bollywood movie, and that was when the ban happened.
Which movie?
That I cannot mention.
Okay,
but there is a movie. If you IMDb it, you'll find it. It's released. It's all there, but I cannot contractually mention which movie I was a part of because of this Pakistan ban. They didn't want me to mention because.
Now it's over, right?
But still, it's so. To go and that's what I'm saying. Go and IMDb it. It is there.
You're not supposed to say.
I can't. It starts with a J.
J.
And it was a sequel. So you'll find it. Okay. So at that point in time, I.
You can nod your head.
Yeah, you can.
He's going to give you guys homework as well.
So at that point in time, which was really sad, was that was my first movie in Bollywood, and I couldn't be part of the marketing, I couldn't be part of the tour, I couldn't be part of anything, and they cut my role to quite some extent. And during the shooting of that movie, I actually signed 2 more movies, and those were taken away as well. But what that inspired me to do was write Hawzat.
Oh, so that turned out well.
And I wanted to take Hawzat to Pakistan and to India, and the visas were not issued, and that inspired me to make it into a web series that try stopping us through the net. We'll get to you one way or the other.
Lovely.
So that's the
Every problem is a solution for something else.
and the world is a global is come together.
Yes.
I'll text you later.
Continue. Do you want to ask something? Yes.
I'm very curious about what you do for P&G and how you maintain that balance.
Very good question. So there is a brand called The Art of Shaving. So it's a premium shaving brand. It's a premium male grooming brand. It has a lot of chemistry products, hair care, skin care, shave care, and I am the global CEO of that company. So I run that company all over the world, apart from the US, which by
60 or something.
I should be right.
Global CEO.
So I run that brand for P&G, and the way that I've managed to do a lot of things in my life is by discipline. For me, it's like I know I have to give a specific amount of time to my day job, which again, because it's a global role, I can choose to balance my time. So I can even get up at 4 a.m. in the morning and China is open, so I can choose to work with them there. At 11 p.m. at night, I can work with our US Central team. So I know that I have to put in, let's say, 8 hours, 5 days a week for my... Then I know that this is something which requires 4 to 6 hours. And then I know how much I have to sleep, I know how much I have to exercise, and then how much time I need to spend with my family. Sadly, the people who suffer the most are my friends, because I don't get to spend too much time with them.
Because you haven't scheduled it.
Because I haven't scheduled it. You actually look at my phone, it has home this evening, this person this evening, this thing this evening. So discipline is what has driven me for that, to that balance. And yes, it does get sometimes overwhelming. Sometimes a lot of things come together, and then there have been periods of my life where for weeks I've been sleeping for 4 hours a day, not getting time to go out. But at the end of the day, it's worth it. When you see, you know, things getting through, it becomes worth it. But discipline is, we all have 24 hours a day. People say it's less. I say it's too much. It's just that value every single minute of your life. And the day you value that, even if you're lazing around, you know that I want to laze around at this given point of time. But once you start valuing every moment of your day, is when you can do wonders with the 24 hours in a day that you have. So that's how it. Yes.
I have a question. I came for JLT the first day for show, loved it. Okay, my big question is, things go wrong, it's live. You don't get a chance to correct them, right? Like a door won't open, a cue won't come on. How do you all, as in, because you're reacting to cues from another person, you're waiting for that exit line to say your line. That line's not come. How do you
React.
fix it? Because you've got a live audience, right? It's, you don't get to say cut and oh sorry, that was meant to happen, you know.
So this is the most beautiful part of theatre, it being a live medium, and also the toughest. As you said, that there is no cut. There is no cut. There is no, oh my God, you know, let's try this again. So there are three basic ways, and when people come into theatre, they're given this. There are three basic pillars of picking up. One is improvisation. We actually, we do the script so many times, but we improvise. If this does not happen, where could this go? And it goes back to the script and to the character, that how would the character behave or how would the script behave. But there is a lot of improvisation that goes on. If Samir has to say something, you have to say something, and then I have to say something. Samir said it, you didn't. I have to improvise, take your line, incorporate it into mine so that the story doesn't fall, and say, because I'm like, okay, it's not coming. It's a rhythm. So the second, and which leads me to the second pillar, the rhythm of the team. The team works together so much and they trust each other so much that you organically know. Like I could be sitting here looking at the audience with 7 people behind me, and I will feel it that the 4th person is going to screw up. It becomes so organic because of the people that you work with. And the third thing, which not too many people do, because as you said, they're waiting for a cue to go, is submit to a character and a story. Now, when that happens, then you're not waiting for a cue. You're building the story. So if a door does not open, you will react as if that character in that story, the door did not open. And then you just like either walk through and deliver the dialogue, or skip the dialogue and deliver it later. Which is why, if you really want to enjoy a theatrical performance, watch 2-3 shows of it. If you find the best actors, like if you go to like the Globe, and if you see a Hamlet, and if the actors are submersive actors, then the Gertrude, the mother and Hamlet scene, every single time will be different. Sometimes it will be on the ground, sometimes it will be standing, sometimes the slap will come somewhere, sometimes the slap will not come. But that's how an organic embrace happens of the character, which is why when theatre characters go on camera, they're called one-take actors. Because they take their time, they get in process, and they just take it from there. No cuts.
So if you had to put this 3 points, you could actually apply to life as well, right?
Absolutely. And when I'm in my professional life, there are a lot of things where people come in with
Professional life?
with the art of shaving.
Okay.
Fair point. When I'm with PNG, so when I'm with PNG, if somebody comes and they're weak in communication skills, right? It's an opportunity area for them. I tell them, go and do improvisation, go and do theatre, go and do a play, because with that, your confidence, your oration, everything will come out. If people are not quick in meetings, sometimes they know what they have all their data, right? They have the scorecards, But when the meeting is going on, they can't go into improvisation. You'll learn to be quicker on your feet. So you're absolutely right. These three things can even, and again, when you do something, embrace it. Don't do it.
Like you get into the skin of the character, right?
Get into the skin of anything that you do. And then you'll be...
When you're backstage, just before you're going live on the stage, do you actually get into the skin or you just go on to the stage?
Oh, I am notorious for that. I have a process which people make fun of me for. I need an hour and a half to get into character. And in that hour and a half, the first half an hour is meditation. So disconnecting from the world and from Asad. The next half an hour is getting into a state of Zen and making sure your mind and body are ready. So vocal exercises, physical exercises, warming up. And then the last hour is getting into the character. So reliving from birth what the character is. People have different processes for that.
You do this by yourself?
I do this by myself with my headphones.
Don't ask other people to do it.
So when the mind and the body exercises are happening, that's when casts normally join. So they do vocal exercises together, they do focus exercises together, they do warm-ups together, and then they again disperse and go into character. So that I normally like it when the team comes together for that. But the meditation and the character graphing is alone, and sometimes even the warm-ups are alone.
And you were trained for this, or you just picked it up by yourself?
So this was a bit of both. I was trained on it by Rahat Kazmi, but during my journey, as I worked with different individuals, different groups, different nationalities, different, I picked up things from a lot of people, and then it all came together as the process. And now I'm happy with that process. So.
Apart from that moment where your mom was like, what has been her role in your career in the art scene?
Oh God, she has been so supportive of all ridiculous things that I've done in my life.
It doesn't sound ridiculous though.
No, there were many others which didn't make the
Be
news.
like,
No. But she has been a pillar of support. Like it was very unique because before Dad passed away, Dad was more like, do the arts, do something which fascinates you, do something which is your passion, whatever you do, just do it. And Mom was like, be an engineer, be a doctor, study, become a nerd, eat, ye le kha paratha.
What did you want to become?
So 8 years. So after I did Aladdin, you would ask me, sadly, as cliched as it sounds, and it's organically progressed from that. Since then, what do I want to be? A Bollywood actor. What do I want to be? A Bollywood actor. Now it's I just want to be an actor no matter where.
Is there something called Bollywood actor? Like
Bollywood? No, it's actually called Lollywood, and I hate that name. It sounds like a shady industry. That's Tollywood. South Indian is Tollywood.
So you're saying?
Yeah. So that was Dad. He was more the do what you want to, and Mom was more. Once he passed away, I think Mom assumed both roles. She was like, okay, make sure that you don't end up on the street, but also follow where your heart is. And in that confusion, I had to do two things in life. But she was very supportive, man. Every single production that I do, she comes and watches. Sadly, today was Ramadan, and in Ramadan, she does not leave home. Otherwise, she would have been here as well. But she has been there for every production.
She's home, right?
She's home. She's watching. Yeah, that's for her. She's definitely watching right now. And she's been there for every premiere. She's been there for every up and every down, and she's literally guided me through the time. Whenever, those days when you're like, life could not be worse.
Tell us a little bit of that. Some of your downs.
The biggest down, you have 3 movies signed, and then the next morning you have nothing. All 3 gone. For me, I think that led to a period of about 2 months. I wouldn't call it depression, but it was more like, why me? Anger, annoyance. a bit of reality check as well, but anger and annoyance. I worked so hard for this, to be here, and I think that was where the organic change from I want to be a Bollywood actor to more I want to be somebody who just does art and commercial art. And I'll tell you why I say commercial art. But that was a real low. Like that, those 2 months were I couldn't focus on work, I couldn't focus on acting. The only thing that was the shining light was writing How's That, because I took all of that, just put it in the script, and it helped me get out as well. But that was and that was the low. And that I feel that the lesson that it taught me is that if life pulls you down, you have to find something which pulls you back up. Whether it's yourself, whether it's a friend, whether it's a family member, whether it's a project. And for me it was How's That, and it was Mom. Because she's so chill, I would go and I would be like, my life is over, and she'd look at me and be like, why? 3 movies are gone?
I thought she said How's That?
She should have. I should have been more, yeah. But she would be like, 3 are gone, 30 will come. If 30 won't come, you'll make 30. But don't let yourself fall prey. Don't beat yourself too much. It was circumstantial. She's a huge Fawad Khan fan, and she still says that Fawad Khan got it worse than you, which he did. But he for him. Like I think he was the worst off on all of us. But yeah. So that's.
Have you thought of Hollywood?
Hollywood, yes and no. Yes, in the sense that I would love to. No, in the sense that there is something called a American Actors Association, which as a union will never let one race play the role of another race. So for example, I cannot play the role of a Dave. And no producer, channel, network will come out and accept this, but this is what the association has done to keep their sanity or whatever. Which is why when a Priyanka Chopra gets a Quantico, it's an Indian character. It's not. And I'd love to go, but I'm not going to play.
But the guy who is playing in Designated Survivor, the press reporter, he's an Indian.
I think he's half Mexican. Because if you look at Kumail Nanjiani, Aziz Ansari, they had to produce their own stuff.
Okay.
They produce their own stuff.
Galvan produces.
Yeah.
Have you thought of putting this on Netflix?
What?
Just like that, a production?
We will. But it's a huge route to take, because Netflix goes via distributors. Distributors have sub-distributors in regions which take your content. So you have to go through content chain. But yes, we will try. It's worth the effort. And there are so many new portals opening up in pockets. I think that it is also worth the while to invest in one of them. Because if it, even let's say if it's a small Dubai or UAE based portal and it sort of picks it up, then maybe Netflix will directly take note. So it's always, you put it out there. You put your energies into the universe and tell the universe, now it's yours. Make it what I want this to be this, but you tell me what it can be, and then see where it goes. So we'll definitely, absolutely, 100% do it.
You're working on another script now?
No.
Okay.
I am currently working on, because How's That needs to be rewritten for a web series. It's a theatrical performance and the liberties that you can take with multiple locations. So I'm rewriting How's That. I'm tightening JLT. Once all of this is done, then I have a very interesting prospect. And again, I'm sorry, I'm under NDA, I can't mention it. Back home. Of another television and web series. So something which they'll, like a Suits, they play it on television, but then it ends up on Netflix as well. So I am going to start writing that. And then by 2020, we have to complete the trilogy of Dubai, right? So we did The Palm, we did JLT, and now we have to do Satwa. So we have to write.
It'll be bad karama.
It'll be bad karama. It'll be bad karama. So then that most probably after these are done, in 19 I'll write, I think I'll write that.
Any questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely fascinating listening to your story. It's very, very impressive. And you talked about all the great things you've done. And everything seems to have gone fantastic. What would you have done differently? Was anything you've done differently?
Would you have done anything differently?
No, I wouldn't have. And it's not been tuck, tuck, tuck. There have been so many failures along the way. If I, in this time, have told you 5 things which worked, about 50 did not. But I still wouldn't change them, because with every failure, I did learn something. And that was something which, when I was a kid, one of my teachers, Qadir Zaidi, he told me this. He was like that, you will fail in life. You know, it's impossible, impractical and improbable that you won't. But when you do learn, why did you fail? Was it because of circumstance? Was it because of you? Was it because of something that you did which you could have done differently? Fix it the next time. But if you ask me if there's anything that I would have changed during the journey, no. Because yes, if I would have done it different, anything that I would have done differently, in hindsight, yes. I think that there were many, like when Howzat started as an idea, I would have involved somebody as a co-writer from the other side. I would have done that, but it consumed me so much, and I had an Indian father, I had a Pakistani mother, and it consumed me so much that I wrote it. Again, would I go back and change it? Perhaps no, but if I had the option of doing something differently, I perhaps would have raked in an Anthea, or I would have raked in a Manju or a Samir, or to get the other side into it. So there have been situations, but touch wood, it's either been good or learning. So
Yes.
With my coaching clients, at the end of the session, I always get to do like a creative headline to summarize. So if you just had the headline, everything you discussed, the main points will come out in a very positive way. What would be your creative headline for your presentation, or your discussion, conversation?
Creative headline, that's very interesting. I would say, okay, in a headline, it's like, do what you love, let nothing come in your way. I would put it that way, because you will know and you will face a lot of issues as you build skills, as you build momentum, as you world. But for me, it's always been do what you love, and then let nothing stop you. Don't tame yourself down. Don't be like, oh, this is possible, this is not. Pakistani, short, no family background in acting. How can I end up in Bollywood? Don't tame yourself. Be like, I will, and then see where the universe takes you. If not there, you'll go in a separate direction. But just keep going. That's really well placed.
You didn't have to get creative with that.
Absolutely not.
Yes. Any questions? Yes. Shoot.
Wait. You said you had a purpose in life. What's your purpose in life?
My purpose in life is to be, so, 2 professional purposes. To be the greatest storyteller of this time, and if God gives me the capability, to be of across generations as well. Number 2, which is a little more sentimental for me, is that if you look at Indian cinema, and sorry I'm going to, because Hollywood became big a long time ago, Indian cinema was still very small in terms of the people, in terms of the number of screens. It was glamorous, yes, but till 25 years ago, the number of screens that were there were still very limited, and they used to say sex or Shah Rukh sells, and that was it. The reason why Shah Rukh is so respected is he grew the pie, and then people started eating from the pie, and that led to many other people in South, in Bhojpuri, to actually work with that ideology to grow the pie, and then people can eat from within that pie, and that's what we did for.
What do you mean by grow the pie?
To get more people to come to the cinema. So if out of a population of 1 billion, only 20 million are going to the cinema, to get that 20 to a 40, that 40 to 100, that 100 to 120.
Shah Rukh Khan did it largely.
Shah Rukh Khan through the 90s, he was the one who was driving it,
Who's pulling it?
who was pulling it. And then obviously people, I can't take that away from them, they contributed to it, but that's something which he is still respected for. I want to do the same for Pakistani cinema. I want people in any corner of the world, you say India, they will say one of four things: Shah Rukh Khan, yoga, spicy, movies. So Bollywood has become like the visiting card of India.
So Lollywood is?
We'll figure out a name. The name is still work in progress. But we'll figure out a name. But I want people that when they listen, when they hear the word Pakistan, for them it's like the northern areas, Coke Studio, and movies. So that's where that's the
Why not theatre? Because I mean, see, movies. I don't watch much Bollywood movies, but when I first time watched, I watched you in short stories. The 10.
short and sweet.
Yes, I was amazed that I feel theatre actors have a lot of talent, like much more than what.
Absolutely.
Because it's just one shot, and it's amazing. But not many people know about it, or not many people are drawn towards it. Like my friends are like, "Who watches theatre?" It's still related to Shakespeare's thing. And I don't know, so how would you want to? Because you're already a theatre actor, right? How would you want to grow that audience? I mean, obviously you're growing it, but why not why get into movies again? Because there are so many people who are doing it.
It's about penetration. So the vision is on both growing theatre, which is why we've gotten it from where it was then, and the way to get people to the theatre is to give them stories which they can relate to. So JLT was a story that they can relate to. So that will get people to come, right? I've mentioned the concept to you. I'm pretty sure 1/4 of you would like to come and watch it. But that's the idea, to give people something that they can relate to. Yes, when you say theatre, people are like, oh, Shakespeare, boring. No. That's why my mantra is entertain with excellence. So at the end of the day, the person who's paid needs to be entertained. Now that entertainment could be laugh, cry, laugh, cry, whatever. Why does it eventually boil down to movies driving change is just the penetration. You do a theatrical production, let's say 500 people watch it every day, you do it for 300 days, that's 150,000 if my math serves me correctly. Yeah? And there are more views per minute on a viral video on YouTube. So it's just the penetration, and if you want to drive change, that penetration needs to happen. It's not movies, it's even Netflix. Netflix is changing the name of the game, and there will be, cinemas are also dying. Cinemas are, that's why, becoming more experiential rather than you pay a ticket and watch a movie, because people are not going. Movie on demand, eventually net pe aa jayegi, things like that are keeping people in their homes. So whatever drives penetration is what will drive that change, and that's the change that I want to see. Sorry, you were saying something first.
I could just leave this thing with you, and then the sense of strategy, this competitive advantage, once you have that.
Absolutely.
So how
Absolutely.
many people have actually seen Jaane Jigar, for instance? Such an amazing production.
I don't know.
Yes.
I hated it the first time, liked it the second time. Jaane Jigar at Dubai Parks. So I was fortunate or unfortunate to go and see their first dress a month before the show started.
Okay.
And I was all over the place. And it was there because they were like, acha, what's good, what's not. The second time I saw it was the premiere, when they actually started playing it for the audiences. And I actually liked it. Is it the best? No, I haven't seen it lately. Maybe they've worked. See, even a
Putting it on?
I think so, yeah. They do it thrice a week. Even a Broadway production, like these Wicked, La Maze,
Yeah.
they workshop it for 6 months, and then they pre-show it for 3 months, and only then they open it to the public. Right here, you do a show for 3 days, 4 days, it's gone. So we need to get into that. And again, it's from the support of the people to get to a place where you can pre-show it, and which is what Jaane Jigar got. The pre-shows were weaker, and then it got stronger. But yeah, how many people have seen it, right? How many people have seen it? Which is why we'll try to make House That into a web series and see what the penetration happens. Sorry, your question.
Coming to the content, like the content creation. So, like if you see in the past 2 or 3 years, the Indian channels, like the YouTube channels, have grown exponentially.
Yeah.
The audience have grown a lot as well. Same in Netflix. Now the Indian content is like Netflix is flooded with Indian content. Now if you make something, you create a gun. So okay, script is the key. The first thing is the
King. Script is the king.
Script is the king. And what do you think the other things follow this? Is it consistency for your subscribers, or is it the cast, or production, or is it? It's like what? Script is okay. You got the script ready. Now, what do you think the other factors to concentrate on if you want to make something?
That's very interesting. See, you have to take a step back and first establish that what is your end goal. If your end goal is to be the #1 comedy YouTube channel, then consistency of your shorts, of your it has to be comedic, it has to be relevant, then it comes in there. But if you want to be a Netflix, see, Netflix has everything. So then the consistency is not the key of the kind of content. Quality, yes. So once you have a script, let's say that you want to make one web series. Once you have a script, the first thing that you need to find is a director crazy enough to bring your vision to light. Now that could either be you or be somebody else. Once you get a director, because this is a medium which is a camera medium, you need a very good DOP, because the DOP will help you keep the ethos, the nice frames. Director of photography, so this is the guy behind the camera. And the third thing is you need to find super strong actors. If you would have said theater, I would have said the first thing you need to find are super strong actors, because it's the theater is an actor's medium, and then find a director. But in these two things supersede your actors. Once you have this team in place, trust me, editing is easy. I was cringing when you said that you have something for a year as an actor or a producer. I would have killed you. But once you have a good director, a good DOP, and a good cast, it'll fall into place. Have you heard of the movie Al Mariachi? Desperado? So Desperado was the Hollywood version of a movie called Al Mariachi. Al Mariachi was made by a Mexican writer-director who made that movie in $25,000. And that movie on the box office made at that time, I think this was the 80s, $7.8 million. And then our friend Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek was casted in Desperado, but the
That costed more.
Yeah, that costed much more and did not make as much. But the idea is that if you have a good concept and if you have a good team, then you can make anything work. Then you can make absolutely anything. Budget does not matter then.
I have one last question to you. Just to touch upon what you asked. What you just said. You want to be the greatest storyteller. When will you know you're the greatest? And what will define it?
Actually, I will never. Because the day I tell myself I'm the greatest storyteller, I'll stop.
Okay.
So I'll just keep pursuing it till I perhaps die and people after me are like
so
you.
Who, according to you, right now is the greatest storyteller?
They're different in different factions.
Okay.
And it's again a matter of personal preference. Somebody might like Tarantino, somebody might like Scorsese.
You.
Oh, I am. I will never put my finger on one person, because as I said, I like watching everything. It's just the mindset that I go in with. So when I go in to watch a race 3, I'll be like, shut your mind off. This is going to be a ridiculous ride and just enjoy. Whereas if I go in to watch a Wolf of Wall Street, I'm going to be like, okay, there are going to be layers and layers and layers and layers. So
You watch Abbas Kiarostami, his movies? You liked?
wait, this is the Iranian guy. Yes, yeah, I've seen his movies. He's really, really
We're coming to
nice.
the end of the first segment, but
If we can quickly have his question, yeah.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, like, you talked a lot of, I'm from Pakistan myself, and I have a little bit of exposure in Pakistan media industry. You talked about the journey of a storyteller. In your opinion, what do you mean entertainment in today's world when you have mobile phones, you have people who are, everybody has the power to tell their story so openly? So the fact that audience has an audience, and when audience has a that can go on a reaction in that medium, the storytelling aspect becomes lived on people to people, right? So I wanted to ask, like, for example, in characters, which I think the difference between Hollywood and Bollywood is, I never liked Bollywood movies, just to be here, because entertainment-wise point of view, it's like, coming from Pakistan, whenever people are like talking about Bollywood movies and songs, it just never makes sense. It was completely, not just utopian, but a completely unusual kind of things that people are talking about, not really on ground. But whereas in Hollywood, you have some stories, real life stories, people who have done something amazing, and then that story has been put up, and then that entertainment has an education aspect, has an inspiration aspect, has something that binds society together, like you're talking about JLT. So in that reference, how do you build up character when audience has an audience?
So very quickly, because there are three layers of this question. Audience having an audience. So characters will always appeal to people if they can connect with them. They can connect with their interest, right? And that interest can be anything: comedy, drama, sex, whatever. So if if characters connect with people or connect with an interest, it will fly. Now that could be a reviewer, that could be a previewer, that could be the actual content. If you want to be a storyteller, make sure whatever you have, A, can connect with people, so it's not like so far from reality that nobody will be able to grasp it, and B, you believe in it. If that is the case, then let somebody review it. Let people do their own videos. People will do vlogs, people will do tweets, people will do Insta stories. Whatever they're doing, you do, but you pick what is your medium to focus on, because you cannot be everywhere all the time. You might be able to in the next 10 years. Right now, you cannot, which is why you don't see, let's say, an ARY or a Geo doing 10-second snap stories, right? They stick to their content, which they then put on YouTube. They're trying to do that. That was the first part of the question. The second part, relatability of Bollywood movies in Pakistan, I disagree. Yes, there is the race 3 of this world, which is larger than life, but that's larger than life anywhere. Even people sitting in India will be like, this is larger than our lives. But then a Kapoor and Sons, or a Lunchbox is very real. That's a very real story. And I, as a Pakistani, spending...
Yeah, just think about it, like in a year, they produce like thousands of movies.
But that is necessary to...
One and two things.
But that is necessary to drive the industry. Otherwise, the money will not come. The industry... Even you open ARY, there's a Bulbule which is going on, which is the shittiest piece of comedy I've ever seen. Yeah. But it's popular, right? Jeeto Pakistan.
I don't understand how.
Because it drives revenue. If these revenue drivers are not there, then your niche will never sustain. So there needs to be a revenue generator, which is what I also said, that there will be a full masala thing that I will do to make my numbers, and then I will push stories. And the only thing that I do is I market the masala as a masala. I will market Race 3 that this is the ridiculous piece that you will get when you come to the cinema. It's not going to be an Interstellar, it's not going to be an Inception. And come and have fun. But the economics need to square, otherwise sustainability of an industry will never happen. Pakistan is still trying to crack the mass cinema, and they can't. And they're failing miserably right now, because they can't find the balance. They were always known for the Khuda Ke Liye, the bolds, the content-based, films. But now they want to make it commercial. They're not finding the sweet spot. Yes, nepotism and producers, kids doing the movies have something to do with it. But I think they will. But it's needed to drive the revenue, and then you push the story as well.
And you'll make the difference one day.
And I'll make the difference one day. And I've forgotten the third part, but forget it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have a small tradition over here, where this was a deck of cards. This was given to me by a friend of mine. It says it takes just one insight to change your business forever. On the other side, there are quotes. So you just pick one card randomly and reflect on what it says.
So I reflect. I don't have to share.
You have to reflect it loudly.
Let's see which one I get.
And before you say what it is, I'd like to take reflections from the audience. what is it that you have taken away from the conversation that we just had? What is it that you will apply, change, or teach in your life? Go ahead.
If you found something to lift you down, you should also find something to lift you up.
Okay.
It's a very important
Discipline and value every moment and try to do whatever you want to do in that.
You can have 2 jobs as well then. Yes.
You can have 4. Who's stopping you?
Probably.
Yep.
Be whatever you want, but be non-stoppable.
Yes, done.
You need people to say no. You need people to say no.
Do what you love and learn from failures.
Keep your friends closer and enemies closer.
I don't know.
And Samir Geepee closer and closer.
Yes.
For me, the takeaway was this discipline as to how discipline has helped him to straddle between 2 different, completely different professions. Somebody who works for a company in day job, and then he's hugely popular. I've seen the JD.
You did? Thank you so much.
Thank you. How do you just discipline alone? Of course, you have talent, you have skill, and all that, but I think discipline has played a huge part in straddling between 2 different complete backgrounds. That was very impressive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's your takeaway?
My takeaway is a little bit weird because I want my children to sit somewhere and say this about the way he's been talking about his parents, his mom. It's amazing. That I think that humility and the bond with your family, that is a big thing. So I've taken it from his mom's thing. Whatever she did is that's what I meant.
It's not.
She wants people to say that she's fabulous.
She wants her kids to say
I want when my kids be that way. And they're only a few years younger than me.
Oh God.
Yes.
My
Yeah, so that
takeaway
is
Yes.
that humility is good.
My takeaway is that since I was a kid, I really loved to be part of the acting industry. One time I just go and get it because I was trying to attract the attention of my parents because you're always busy. So I always try to do my best in class, and even if I have my awards, still it's too hard for them to come. But then one day there was a fashion show in my school that was the last station at the elementary, grade 6, yeah. And then
Is it brief?
yeah, it's a brief one.
Take a
But
break.
I just
Sorry.
I just go and grab it, and my cousin. I was so inspired by what you have, your story and how you achieve it, how you want it in your life, that you directly go through it. But I was fascinated to be part of this kind of, it's like there is a soul in me into that, and go and get what you want.
Make your dreams a goal and achieve them.
I think he wants to say.
And I was going to say that the whole thing of finding what you're really good at and being really good at it.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Before you say that, what was your takeaway? Did you find something about yourself, or did you reflect on anything while you were sharing things over here?
So, for me, this is so much positive energy that the part of when life pulls you down, find something to pick you up, this is what picks me. So I'd really like to thank all of you, because this is the kind of energy that really gives me the battery to do what I do. And there are so many different stories, right? The actor, the doctor, the mother, the writer. There's so many different stories, and then when you see all of them sitting and sharing this one common energy, you're like, you know what? This makes it worth the while. So that's my takeaway. Thank you for organizing something like this. This is actually something I spoke about as well. Strategy without leadership will have no momentum, and leadership without strategy will have no direction. So basically, find what you love, do what you love, and let nothing come in the middle, and be disciplined. That's
pretty much every week when they pick the cards, it resonates with what they spoke.
It does?
It's a magic.
Yes. Fantastic. Lovely. Thank you.
We take it.